Hey, Scott from Aristocob.com here.
And Seth from MyWienerYourMouth.com.
Truth. And welcome to
I had a
Markwood Men's
coworker
Breakfast Club.
visit that website the other day.
Did you really?
I did. They said, I don't know if I trust you enough to do this. I said, it's fine.
They said,
fine.
how do you spell wiener? And you said, doesn't matter.
I said, doesn't matter. It's exactly what I said. Then, doesn't matter. E before I before wiener. Doesn't matter. Either way, I'll get you there.
Today we're going to smoke this Fruit Loopy tobacco that I get from Germany whenever I either visit or have a friend visiting Germany.
It's a favorite of ours.
It is, and it's weird because you don't usually get into aromatics, and this is certainly aromatic, but it is a good tobacco.
I don't usually get into aromatics.
I force you to smoke most of my aromatics. Oh, look at that big old piece of flake right there.
Yeah, I get into aromatics. I just also enjoy Englishes.
So let's see. To get things started, you've got some crap to share, but I thought that
crap from China.
I thought that I would mention.
Yeah.
There will be a pipe meetup in Nashville this year.
Okay.
Yeah, it's there's some talk about it, and as of us recording this, all the details have not been fleshed out. The actual date has not been selected, though there's some that are floating around. I'll put a link to some folks that are in the know. Derek Tant in particular. He's from Texas, from West Texas, but he visits family in Nashville and gets there relatively often. And Boone Target's there when he's running trips, and they've gotten together several times. And the plan is, as they have in the past, there used to be a full-on pipe show in Nashville, and with the FDA deeming a couple years back, kind of took the wind out of the sail from a lot of folks because no one knew what to do, right? Whether they're allowed to give away samples, they're not.
A lot of the vendors,
the big vendors, just decided that they didn't want to mess with it. But the folks that had become accustomed to going to Nashville said, "Well, we're still going to go to Nashville." So they go to Smokers Abbey one evening. They go to Uptowns one day. They spend a lot of time hanging out and eating and drinking coffee and just having a good time. I don't have plans to attend, but if it's at all possible, I will.
Yeah.
And they're talking about September, October. Again, I'll give you the details down below. But if I can go, I'll be there, and would suggest if it's in your neck of the woods, you make a point of joining. It's a lot of fun. Obviously, it's not the same scale as going to Chicago or one of the big shows. But it is everything that I like about a pipe show, and that's the meetup. Mm-hmm. So, anyway, thought I'd mention that.
Yeah, our first Nashville pipe show was before we started our channel. So I guess
really?
6 years ago. Yeah. So I met a lot of the people in the pipe community, a lot of people who have become our friends before we started posting. They knew me as Boy from your channel. Mm-hmm. The few times you talked about me, but
I guess that's right. That's right, because it was funny to you that people knew who you were when your face had never really appeared on YouTube. Mm-hmm. This must be Boy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at least not within this community.
I think that we were there twice. Mm-hmm. Never when it was just a meetup. Haven't made it for the meetups yet, but still, I'll be there if I can.
Yeah, cool. It's great news. Be interesting to see what they're able to put together and who all is able to attend.
Yeah. So,
all
right, let's talk about your crap.
All right, this is the most exciting crap from China episode yet. This is the last of three.
We will be the judge of that.
This is the last of three. 3 of 3. So we have talked in the past about how there have been instances of Chinese manufacturers stealing ideas from Kickstarter campaigns. Yeah. About a month ago, I saw a Kickstarter campaign that looked phenomenal. It's right down my alley. It's for a Rubik's Cube that is a smart Rubik's Cube, a Bluetooth enabled. Yeah, it looks slick. The edges have lights on it. It has a timer functionality where you can, in solving the cube, it will time you and tell you from start to finish how long it takes. It has other activities you can do. One of the things that was most appealing to me and to my brother-in-law, who also likes to Rubik's Cube, was they have a battle function where two people can link up and solve the cube together and compete head-to-head. All of that was very, very cool. And so I immediately signed up to receive first information when the Kickstarter would release. Kickstarter released. Turns out that the kit that I would want to get, which has a nice stand for the cube, a way to charge it so that it can be kind of like not a lamp, but so it can be lit, and all of the battle functionality and everything else was going to cost, at the Kickstarter discount of 50% off, was going to cost, like, I think $125.
Ooh.
And I was really tempted. I was really, really tempted. And then I became less tempted when I saw it wasn't going to release until April of next year. And having done some Kickstarter things in the past, I know that the success rate isn't always great. And that's an awful lot of money to pay for something that may not be great when in the first version. And so I thought, well, even though it's 50% off, I'll wait. I'll wait and see how it turns out. And if it's a success, and if they reach their goal, and once they work out the kinks, then maybe I'll buy one. A week later, perusing YouTube, I stumbled on a video of a guy reviewing a smart Rubik's Cube. It's like, wait, what is this? And he has his hands on one, and it's not the same Rubik's Cube that they have. And so this little headphone-wearing Rubik's Cube is the GIIKER, I think, GIIKER cube. And what's interesting about these headphones is they have, it's actually a charging port. So micro USB plugs in there, and inside there's just a small pin connection that sits on holes in either side of the cube. So this Rubik's Cube is smartphone enabled. And so there's an app that you can download, and the app will recognize the position of the cube. You can reset it and tell it what the cube looks like. It's currently looking for my cube. It is connecting. It just made a little beep, letting me know it is connected. And so this cube, this cube is smartphone enabled, and the phone knows exactly what the cube looks like at any given point in time. Now it does this by a number of magnetic sensors, and so there are a ton of features on this. One of the features is a help me solve it feature. So if you don't know how to do a Rubik's Cube, you can do the help me solve it. It's going to tell you how to hold the cube, what orientation to hold it in, and as you follow along with the steps, it's going to tell you, hey, great job. Now do this again. Hey, congratulations, you solved it. So if you're someone who is new to Rubik's Cubing, or maybe if you're someone who wants to have one on your desk that's complete, but you don't want to have to take the stickers off because you don't know how to do it, this is a great option.
How much?
I'll get to that. It also has, and this was something I really like, it has a number of puzzles and activities that can be done. So one of those activities is to match the picture. And so you would use this to match that diagram. There's also the more hardcore version of that is match the cube, where you have to match all 6 sides.
Wow.
So for someone like me who's very comfortable with a Rubik's Cube and manipulating the pieces, that's a lot of fun. My favorite, though, is this game called Cubic Escape, where you have a virtual little wizard, and the wizard, what side is that on? So the goal is to get the wizard to the exit, and then on the next level, puts the wizard someplace else. It gets all the way up to where, at the higher levels, you end up having bombs that you have to avoid, and so you have a certain number of moves to get it into position. And then, of course, the function that I really like for when my brother-in-law comes over is there is a scramble there's a scramble option that is calling me out for not scrambling it enough. Here, hold on to that for a second. There's a scramble option that
it says click ready after scramble.
Click ready.
All right.
All right. So there's a picture on there. Go ahead and hold that up.
Twist to start time.
So there's a picture on there that shows the state of my cube, and it shows 0, 0 for my time. So as soon as I start moving it, it's going to start timing me, and it is counting down until I finish, until I solve the cube. So this sucker, I almost paid $150 or $125 for something just like this, with maybe 1 or 2 pieces of functionality. This sucker cost me $27.
Oh my gosh!
And not only that, if you are somebody who has ever used a Rubik's Cube or wanted to learn how to solve a Rubik's Cube, man, it is a smooth cubing experience. Like, it would be easy for, what was the time?
And it stopped itself?
55 seconds.
55.31 seconds. It took you 158 steps.
Yeah, so there's an arrow.
350 inch speed?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what that is. It will actually tell me what the solution I used, what the steps I took to solve it. So my brother-in-law came over the other night, and we were passing the cube back and forth. We said best of 3. And we'd pass it back and forth. I'd mix up for him, he'd mix up for me, and we would do the timer. Really, the only thing I'm disappointed about, out of all of the great function it has, the only thing that I'm disappointed is that it doesn't keep track of your best of score. But that's fine, you know. It for $27. Honestly, for $27, I'm surprised that the app is in English. The instructions were not. The box was not. The cube is incredibly smooth. It is probably the smoothest Rubik's Cube that I own. It's a little bit odd because of the magnets that make noise. But man, I almost really did something stupid, and I'm glad I did.
Do it again.
All right.
So you solve that, and it knows the position that it's in right now.
Yes.
Twist to start time.
Yes. So as soon as I turn this, it's going to start. So as soon as I turn this, if I'm going to try to actually solve it for realsies.
Yeah, for realsies.
You go ahead and talk.
I will. All right. Okay. I was never able to solve a Rubik's Cube. I can get most of it, but there's always some odd one I could never solve. And I've got a friend of mine who we were buddies in high school, who I don't know how long he spent learning this thing, but he figured it out one day. And like you, he can do it fast. He can do it with his eyes closed. He studies it, and then away he goes. And I've always been impressed by that. I think it's one of those things, sort of like playing chess, where if you're thinking you are thinking several moves ahead, because you got to know, where are things going to land if you twist it.
This time is going to be worse than my last time.
Well, because I really mixed it up. I know how to mix up a Rubik's Cube.
There's no such thing as really mixed it up.
Yeah, there is. And we've already passed 55 seconds.
I told you.
It's really cool how it's showing the cube moving here. There we go. Stop. Minute, 7 seconds.
Yeah. So another fun thing is that my brother-in-law and I solve the Rubik's Cube using 2 very different methods. And so when we get together, it's always interesting to watch the other person solve it and he has since taught me his method. I'm not very good at it. Now the method he uses is the one that is deemed faster. It came after my method. It's the evolution of it, and it's what all of the fastest speed cubers, the ones who solve the cubes in 5 and 6 and 7 seconds, use. So he has the potential to be much faster than me. My fastest time ever was 28 seconds. And I'm clearly a lot slower than that these days. But I'm a lot less practiced. But with this, I think I might practice more. I've already played through all of the levels of Save the Wizard. That was so much fun. And my wife, who has never solved a Rubik's Cube, was playing through that as well, because it's really just a spatial reasoning puzzle at that point. And so if you want to practice and understand how you can manipulate the pieces, it's really great practice for that. Mom was asking me to teach my nephew Jensen how to solve a Rubik's Cube. She thinks he'd really enjoy that.
Yeah, he would.
I'm going to recommend this for him, because not only will he have a Rubik's Cube, but he'll be able to practice on his own and get better. There are certain things that you need to figure out how to move the pieces. It's difficult to move a piece into place without messing up everything else that you've always done, already done, unless you know how to do that. So this is not Chinese crap. This is really good Chinese crap. I'm super pleased. The battery seems to hold for a long time. I've only ever gotten down to 90%.
Does it give you a readout of how much time is left on the battery?
Yeah, so inside here I can see the cube. I can see the current position. I've
You're at
totally
100%
done.
still.
I've done almost 12,000 turns on it so far, which sounds like a lot, but actually isn't, because I've only had it for 2 weeks.
And it says you can reset the status on it.
I can. So there are two ways you can do that, because what will happen is if you play with it while it's turned off, it may lose connectivity and it may not know where it is. There's only been 1 or 2 times. So like there's one quirk about it is it will not register a center move. And so the faster cubers will hold the cube like this, and they just use their fingertips to move pieces. They don't turn. I turn with my whole hand. And so if you rotate it down, it may not register that, because there are not, where it's not registering both places, it's only registering one slice at a time. This really comes up in the game where you need to move, let's say I need to move this.
Oh, moving the center is the same as moving the 2 outsides at the same time.
Correct. But it may not register that. It's only registering the outside. So you know, it would be, if I were doing it in 2 moves or 3 moves, I would go forward, up, and then those pieces down, right? And so it will register that because I have now moved this axis and this axis. But if I were to just do that, it may not register it.
I see.
It really comes up in one of the puzzles. You have to move, let's say, this red and green piece down to here. Well, you would want to just move straight down, but you can't do that. It won't register that. So in order to get this piece here, you have to move over, down, and over. So it ends up being 3 moves to do something that could be done in 1. That's just the way that the sensors come into play. So really
that's
happy
what you
with
get
this.
for $125.
That's probably so. You know, I if they don't ever make a change or improvement to us, I'm really happy. But I do figure that as it starts to pick up steam, I've only just now seen people talking about it in the YouTube Rubik's Cubing community.
There's a YouTube Rubik's community.
There are people who make videos about Rubik's Cubes of different sizes, of different, 5x5, 6x6. There's a guy who 3D printed his own 100 by 100 and tried to put it together, and it was a catastrophe. 3.5 hours into it, it fell apart. It was awesome.
Really?
Yeah, real sad. And so isn't that great?
You're right, it is super smooth.
Takes a little bit of getting used to because it kind of feels like it wants to pull away. But it is smoother than the cubes that I used to. I used to take my Rubik's Cubes apart and spray them down with Armor All silicone to smoothen up the joints, and it is that smooth. It is that smooth. So I've been able to consistently get down to about a minute on the average.
So you purchased this where?
AliExpress. Bought it on AliExpress, $27. This was the first item to arrive. I was really excited because this was the one this is why I went there to begin with, and then ended up buying the other Chinese crap just as here's some other stuff I could buy. oh, this torch is only $6. Oh, these cards are $4. This was why I went there in the first place. And so all 4 items, I ended up buying another like a pencil torch, which hasn't arrived yet. All 4 items I purchased were from different sellers. They, had different tracking stuff. One of the items didn't track at all. The sous vide torch had no tracking information, so I didn't even know if it had shipped, and it showed up in my mailbox today.
Cool.
So yeah,
You mean it showed up 2 weeks ago?
No, I mean today. It's fine. They know.
So this is called My Supercube.
Well, that's the website,
app,
but I think it's
right?
I think the name of the cube is GIIKU. A GIIKU, I think, is
We can
the name
link
of
to it?
This is the cube. We can absolutely link to it.
Okay.
So it would be really cool if they built into the app the battle app
Yeah.
functionality and some of the other stuff. Like I said, I've already completed all of the wizard puzzle games, so I would love some more of those because those were
But
fun.
you know now that concept exists, that they'll
Yes.
add that functionality to it. So
Yeah,
I wouldn't think.
yeah.
Very cool. Well, thanks
So-
for sharing that. That's that's cool.
I feel good too knowing it's not a ripoff
Right.
of the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
We've talked about that before, and that's not what this is.
There have been companies that while the Kickstarter campaign was still running, was not even 30 days in, somebody had already knocked it off.
Yes.
Shocking. What was the little
Fidget cube.
Fidget cube was
Yeah.
that. So, and it's funny because they didn't exactly know how it was going to function, so they
Right.
didn't copy it faithfully because
Right.
they'd never seen one.
Yeah. I've talked
Funny.
before. I got a knockoff fidget cube about 5 months before I got the Kickstarter fidget cube I paid for. So
Amazing. All right, very cool. Did you get into Rubik's Cube when you were young? Do you still do it? I'd be curious to know. Like I said, I never could figure it out. Maybe I'll have to borrow this.
sure, you can borrow Jensen's.
That's true. No, I haven't seen it, Smuckers. I have no idea where that thing went.
I don't know anything about the wizard getting to the portal.
All right, that's it. Make it a great week.
See you guys.